Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly fascinating framework on time management and personal growth. Drawn from Part 2, Chapter 1 of Ryuho Okawa's writings, we're looking at what it takes to grasp literally the chance of a lifetime. But hey, this isn't your standard run-of-the-mill corporate productivity seminar. We're going to explore a highly structured, philosophical, and really spiritual take on how we manage our daily lives. Okay, let's dive right into this. So what if the 24 hours you live today aren't actually yours? Most of us wake up and just kind of implicitly believe that our time belongs to us, right? We talk about my time, spending my time, or wasting my time. But the source material we're exploring today flips this completely on its head. It asks us to consider our daily allotment of time as something borrowed, rather than something we own. In the text we're analyzing today, Guideposts to Happiness, we find this incredibly unique framework that essentially compares spiritual living to things like banking, asset management, and investing. It's a very practical, grounded metaphor applied to a deeply spiritual concept. Let's look at the first core principle. Section 1, the 24 hours deposited by God. This right here is the foundational paradigm shift the author introduces, the number 24. The text asserts that this daily 24-hour allowance, it's not our inherent property. Instead, it's an asset entrusted to us by a divine creator. Think of it like a daily deposit into your personal bank account. You don't generate this time yourself. It's given to you, freshly minted every single morning. And as you might expect, with that deposit comes a specific set of expectations from the investor. The text uses a really compelling banking metaphor here. If a bank just takes customer deposits, locks the cash in a giant vault, and never invests it to pay out interest, well, that bank is going to go bankrupt pretty fast. According to the framework, human beings are exactly the same. If a person selfishly hoards and consumes their 24 hours just for their own idle pleasure, without generating any kind of return on that investment, they face spiritual bankruptcy. Which brings us to Section 2, paying the interest of love. So you're probably wondering, how exactly does one pay interest on a divine loan of time? In this framework, love is strictly defined. It's not merely an emotion or some passive feeling of goodwill. Acts of love, or altruism and self-cultivation, are the literal required interest that must be paid back to the divine creator. It's an action. Doing something for the benefit of the world, developing your soul, helping others out, this is exactly how you generate the yield on your 24-hour investment. The author posits a pretty stark consequence here. If no interest is paid, the divine investor might just view that time investment as a total loss. The text metaphorically suggests that the creator might look at a wasted day and think, you know, the 24 hours I invested in you were completely pointless. Next time, I'll invest that time in someone else. It's a highly motivating, almost blunt perspective designed to eliminate spiritual laziness and enforce a real sense of daily accountability. Moving on to Section 3, the three-stage thinking audit. To avoid that spiritual bankruptcy we just talked about, the text provides a really practical daily mechanism. Here's how this psychological audit breaks down. Step 1 is negative thinking, which actually means reviewing your reflections and finding your own faults. Step 2 is the middle way, which is all about avoiding extremes to seek a path of harmony. And only in Step 3 do we reach positive thinking, which focuses on seeing your strengths and producing actual growth. But why start with a negative? To explain the necessity of starting with your faults, the author uses a brilliant metaphor. Imagine trying to carry water in a leaky bucket, or trying to clean a floor using a completely filthy rag. No matter how many times you swap out the water, if the bucket has a hole, well, you're going to lose everything. If the rag is dirty, you're just spreading mud. This is exactly why the audit starts with the negative. You literally have to patch the holes in your own character and clean up your own mindset before you can hold or distribute anything positive. So, the crucial point is how you actually execute this audit. First, you clear out those negative traits, patching that leaky bucket. Once that's totally secure, you enter the middle way, a state where you avoid extremes and harm neither yourself nor others. From that stable, harmonized foundation, you can finally generate true positive production, really amplifying your strengths. And the ultimate goal of all this production is alignment, where your own private joy directly contributes to the public happiness of society. This is how the interest is truly maximized. And that leads right into Section 4, the chance of a lifetime calling miracles. This is really the culmination of the entire philosophy. Notice the progression of these concepts here. It moves from daily reflections and audits all the way up to grasping a chance of a lifetime, a once-in-a-millennium opportunity. The text argues that these massive breakthroughs, they don't just happen by accident. No way. They are the compounded result of our daily spiritual investments, coupled with a deepening vow to one's faith. By faithfully paying the interest of love every single day, rigorously auditing the mind, and deepening that spiritual commitment, an individual builds an incredibly strong foundation. And according to the source, it is precisely this foundation that acts like a magnet. It invites miracles. It actually allows you to recognize and seize those incredibly rare, golden opportunities when they finally cross your path, because you've done the daily work and cultivated the faith to prepare for them. We've explored a pretty profound shift in perspective today, moving from just spending time to actively paying interest on a divine loan through self-reflection, acts of love, and a deepened commitment. So I want to leave you with this final thought, drawn straight from the heart of the framework. Knowing that the clock is ticking on today's deposit, how will you invest your next 24 hours? Thank you for joining me for this explainer.